Hi, welcome back to World History by a Jew. I'm your host, Seth Fleishman. So let me warn everyone right at the top, this is not a lecture. This is for those of you who regularly enjoy my channel. I wanted to interact with you some. So we decided 3 weeks ago, we all had a conversation together in the same format that I would do a poll to see what you, the viewer, wants to hear in my future lectures. So we're nearing the end of our Bronze Age collapse series, and it's time to pick something new. So why not go to the people who enjoy the channel the most to help me decide what to do next? So I went through 7 potential series for us to do back in this video that was posted on October 28th. If you want to know the details of that conversation, go back and watch this video, but you don't have to. Or if you already watched that video and you've been waiting 3 weeks wondering when I was going to tell you what the update is, well, this is your update. So here you go. These were the 7 items on the ballot. And as I said, we've already gone through what each of them are. I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to go through it again now. This is meant to be a short video, but I do want to point out that we're doing exactly what you decided for those of you who voted. Now, speaking of my voters, most of the votes came in through YouTube. I did get a few people who emailed me because they either didn't want to vote on YouTube or were unable to for technical issues. So I've tallied all those up. So these are the numbers that I'm using to decide who is going to be our winner. So here's our big decision 2020. This is really what you've been hearing in the news. It wasn't this presidential thing. Everyone's been talking about this is the real 2020 decision, what World History by a Jew is going to do after Bronze Age collapse. So to borrow what Richard Dawson once said, let's see what the survey says. So the survey says number 3, third place in the voting was the first Jewish state. The idea was we go through King David and King Solomon's era. We talk about the tribes, how they got settled, how they became the kingdoms of Judea and Israel. Then we move into the Phoenicians and the Phoenician Empire, and then talk about the other Near Eastern powers, most specifically the Neo-Babylonians and the Assyrians coming in and their impact, and how all this is tied into the Bible. But it came in third place. So not saying never, it's still quite probable this one will go, but not soon. Number 2, early European history. This one is actually the surprise for me of the survey. I thought it would get some votes. I wouldn't put one on there if anything gets some votes, but it seems a lot of you are interested in Charlemagne's empire and how Jews first came into Europe, and the start of France and the early pieces that would become Germany, and what happened to Europe after Rome fell to when the Holy Roman Empire was started. And this is a conversation, given the interest, I probably should have with you at some point. But again, this came in second place, so this is not what's going to be next. Now it's time to talk about our winner. Now, if you watched the previous video, I had told you if I was going to do a second round, right? I said there'd be a second round. Unless, it's a big unless, like the Lorax, it's a big unless, there was one of these 7 that got a large percentage of the votes. And I even threw out a number when I did the video of 40% or more. And wouldn't you know, there was one of the topics that got 40%, 41% to be exact, of the votes. So without further ado, our winner is ancient Mesopotamia. We're going to go back to the first cities, which gave us the first writing, which gave us the first civilizations and the first empire. And we'll go back, we'll look at Sumer and Akkad and Sargon the Great's empire. And we'll talk about the Babylonian empire of Hammurabi. And we'll talk about the archaeological discoveries. So I'll mix in the archaeological discoveries of Mesopotamia, just like I've done with both the Egypt and the Bronze Age collapse series, and see how we can get all those to work together along with the Mesopotamian religion, which then gives us a tie into the Jewish religion. So we'll talk about how Mesopotamian religion and literature are then, you're able to see them through our own modern, well, I shouldn't say modern, but our own writing today from modern religions. And then, of course, I'll get into the details, most specifically of Abraham and his immediate descendants, and how we can maybe see hints of him in the archaeology, and how all this ties in together to give us the roots of Jewish culture that we know today. So it should be a lot of fun. Now, for those of you who like numbers, I figured at least I'd give you the actual percentages of who got the most votes. So you can see ancient Mesopotamia did come in at my little baseline 41%. So there's your winner. And then early European state was in second place, with the first Jewish state close behind. I actually thought the first Jewish state would have been in second place, and it got a lot of early votes. At one point, it was neck and neck with ancient Mesopotamia, but then it fell behind as more and more votes came in. But anyway, I thought you'd like to see, as much as I gave World War I this big appeal, and I still think for all of you antiquity fans, I can make World War I a lot of fun for you antiquity fans, but it didn't get enough votes. Now, multiple people, you can actually see it, a lot of people on YouTube itself, and then others wrote to me all asking me to do the entire thing, to start with ancient Mesopotamia and go in chronological order, do the entire 7. That's not out of the question, but that's at least a couple years worth of work, and I don't want to commit that far. So I'm committing to ancient Mesopotamia. That's what we'll work on. So when are we going to start ancient Mesopotamia? In January. Everyone's got kind of an irregular schedule, I think, between Thanksgiving and New Year's. And I'm just like that. We've got family vacation and Thanksgiving, and I've got Hanukkah and most of my family's birthdays. Everyone's like crammed into the same 6-week period between now and the end of the year. Oh, and let me throw in a couple of business trips on top of that. It's just, I think the best plan is we're going to finish Bronze Age collapse. There's only one more lecture left, so we'll finish Bronze Age collapse. And I will take a few weeks to get myself together here. And in January, we'll shoot for starting the ancient Mesopotamia subject. And of course, I think it's kind of a bad omen to start anything else in 2020 anyway. Isn't it much better for all of us just to wait to start new things in 2021 at this point? But we do have one more thing left in 2020 I want to promote, and that's our last Bronze Age collapse lecture, the Jewish Philistines. So is it possible that some of the Israelite tribes are actually sea peoples? So we've got one more very close examination of the Bronze Age collapse to do. If you've been watching the whole series, you know I've left a chunk in the map. So it's time for us to go back and address that last chunk in the map to see what we can discover. Hope to see you again at a future lecture. That next one, I think I'll have it up in about 2 weeks. So you have to forgive me for Thanksgiving and some family activities, but we'll have that up. I'm going to try to have either some snippets or have a couple other ideas to do where I will have some videos posted in December, but the formal lectures will then start back in January. And those of you who are still watching, I have one final comment I'd like to make. I was reading an article about what's a successful ratio of views to subscribers. And the article, there's a lot of X factors and all that, but long story short, it was indicating that you should be shooting for somewhere between about 8 and 14%. So 8 and 14%. And that means, of course, if you have 20,000 subscribers, you should be hoping for about 2,000 views whenever you post a new lecture. I just wanted to point out, and this is really to all of you, because you are the ones jumping those lectures, that my ratio is sitting close to 60%. So you're talking 5-6 times the norm. So while I may not have a lot of subscribers, I like to always say that I think I have just about the most loyal subscriber base, including those of you who are still watching this video. So thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you again, all of you again, on YouTube, as best as this format will allow it.